Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds, hanging out with a couple nerds.
I'm Ted.
Ryan.
Today we will be discussing the spirit of the game.
Why don't you jump down to the description below, sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get weekly gaming tips as well as learn how to game with us.
So to me, the spirit of the game is the idea of playing within the context and confines of like the tropes or the genre of the game that you're playing, right? So to not do things that like are super gamist just for the effect of effectiveness and expediency. Like it's like, you know, why would you use meta knowledge if you're a first level character? Like you don't know crap about dragons for real. Like, you know, you're a first level character.
Unless I will say, right?
Yeah.
I had Natalie, that's been in some of our games.
Mm-hmm.
I had her playing in Philly Gamescom game, and she would make bardic knowledge checks and fail them,
and make up other crap,
and then just make stuff up, which is perfect.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, if you're, you know, sort of like a very boisterous like character, and that's fun. And like, I mean, or conversely, like maybe your field of expertise is dragons, like that's what you were a sage studying, and that makes sense too. But I'm just saying that, like, you know, if you're playing like a gothic horror game, like you don't want to be the character that's always making jokes and like levity all the time, because like that kind of ruins the feel of the horrific game, you know. So you need to sort of be mindful of that.
But what if that's your character type?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be, but usually that guy dies really soon, so I would not want to be that character type. But yeah, I mean, I think that's okay as long as you know, you're talking about staying within the trope. Like, being the jokey character wouldn't be the problem. The problem would be if you were the jokey character that never gets afraid of the things that normal people should be afraid of.
Right. You know what? That's
respecting the genre.
Right. If you're playing a Cthulhu, like a Lovecraftian game, like everybody wants to go arm up and like go fight the thing, but no, you're a normal person. You run the frig away from things that are terrifying.
You don't beat Cthulhu by beating Cthulhu.
Yeah. You win a Call of Cthulhu game by running away and being scared. Like that.
You win by surviving.
Survival is the victory there. You don't want to. You're not fighting the zombies and the vampires. You're scared of them. Very scared.
Like when we were kids playing in our group, it was like we had this like running joke that is a perfect example of what you're talking about, breaking the immersion and the tropes of the game you're playing, and, you know, respecting the genre. You know, it's like, you know, it was like all dwarves played heavy metal, and gnomes and halflings rapped, and, you know, things like that. You know, and, you know, we would kind of do silly things in the game and like make it part of the game, and that is exactly what you're talking about not doing, pretty much.
Well, I mean, and also too, like everybody plays these games for different reasons. Like if your group really is about like collective storytelling and like, well, I mean, like everybody's telling a story, but and your group tends to take it more like seriously and create like serious narrative. That's one way of playing. Another way of playing is you're super jokey and like, you know, it's just. But
like, that's a different spirit of the game.
It's a beer and pretzel sort of thing that you're just hanging out playing a game, versus I tend to like a game that, you know, we have fun playing it, but we're telling an interesting story together.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're both the spirit of the game, but they're two entirely different games.
Different spirits,
right? And it's a matter of matching up, you know, the players to the game that's being presented.
Right. So you want to sit back and see, you know, what the entire group is into. What kind of thing is the DM presenting, and if everybody can be, you know, in accord, everyone can be in agreement. Well, then there's your spirit. If people are in contrast, then perhaps...
and there's no, and you can't get to the middle point or anything. There's no happy medium with people because it's so extreme to what they're going to want out of the game, right?
We actually have a really good recorded example of this with our Star Wars game, where the spirit of the game that Scott was trying to present, all the players kind of inadvertently rebelled against, and you know.
So you guys are rebel scum, is what you're saying?
Not quite, but very close. for the right amount of money, actually for the right amount of money, we were Rebel Scum.
Yeah.
But essentially, he's playing.
He wanted a more heroic game. You guys were like the mercenaries.
Right.
Yes. And then we had like the other end of the spectrum with a couple Jedi that were super good guys, and we're like so good guys.
You're great heroes. I mean, you're Han Solos. Yeah.
No. How did you describe that?
You guys are even grimmer than, grittier than Han Solo. Like more.
Like he described Bart's character, or maybe even the mercenaries in general. You guys are like Han Solo. If you guys would have just left Luke on Tatooine. Yeah. So like that prompted like almost the ending of that game, because he's like, you got two different groups here, and I don't want to continue because I don't think they're going to really ever gel and come together. So so we're like, I believe there was like 3 spirits of the games involved in this game.
Yeah,
and there were
a session 0 discussion would have figured out where to go with things. Right?
Well, funny that you mentioned that, because now Scott's like, maybe you guys are right about session 0, and we should do one. So on our next campaign with him, we are doing a session 0. And so we're going to talk about the Shadowrun game we want to play, and we're going to talk about how the cipher system mechanics that we're going to use to run that game will interact with everything, and make sure everyone is playing the same game.
Well, and also too, like, if you're playing Shadowrun, like, it implies that cyberpunk sort of feel. Things are kind of grim and gritty, and like. So that game, like, you don't want to play, like, a super bubbly, happy-go-lucky character, because it doesn't really fit, like, the spirit of, like, people that are runners and things like that. Like, it's not how it plays out. Like, you don't want to play, like, a stereotypical fantasy dwarf when, like, the way by which you become a fantasy anything in that world is a very different way than it happens in your sort of run-of-the-mill D&D or Tolkienish fantasy.
I goblin eyes.
You've contracted fantasy AIDS.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
No, you goblin eyes at puberty is all.
Yeah, goblinization is a thing. Yeah. So what do you guys think about the spirit of the game? Are these discussions that you guys often have at your own table? Do you just have a long-running group that it just sort of gels and works out? So you can like, comment, and subscribe, and talk about that in the comments below.
You can patronize us in a good way over on Patreon.
Or you can hang out with us over on Twitter.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.